All right, welcome to the first episode of the Two Squirrels podcast with Wilbur and Liam. Liam and Wilbur, take your pick, however you want to do it. All right, so Liam, what's going on today, brother?
Not much, man. It's actually warm here in Myrtle Beach, and I have no complaints as of yet. Thankfully, the pollen is not like covering everything.
Yeah, the pollen was real bad this year. I had to start popping my pills. I was actually didn't have any allergies until I reached about 40, and since I've hit 40, allergies is season is very deadly for me.
Well, hey, as long as you're popping allergy pills, I think that's okay. If it's anything else, I don't know, Will.
Yeah, just allergy pills, just allergy pills. So what? So what do we? So you're in the Myrtle Beach area. I'm actually in the Aiken, South Carolina, North Augusta area. Uh, Been in the real estate business about 15 plus years. Me and you both are broker owners. So welcome to all the real estate agents and broker owners to the podcast. This is our first time trying something like this. So if we screw up a little bit, forgive us. And but we're gonna make it fun and we're gonna give you a lot of knowledge, hopefully.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. And the thing is, if we screw up, we just learn what not to do. And for those people that are listening that are outside of real estate, you'll still be able to pull some of the nuggets and some of the information we're talking about and apply it to your regular life or business or whatever have you.
And I want to apologize for my southern drawl ahead of time. So if you don't understand me, tough luck.
We, we might have to put subtitles up just in case.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work on that probably.
Just they're going to be like, what did Wild Will say? And by the way, that's your name now is Wild Will.
Oh, I've got another nickname. I got plenty.
That's awesome. All right, so today's topic is what we're going to try to talk about here is how to stay self-motivated in a hectic world because guess what? Life doesn't stop because you're in real estate.
Life does not stop because you're in real estate. So I have agents, you have agents. I think that is a constant struggle for a lot of people is just how you going to get up? What's your big why? How are you going to go through the days and not let life control you, but let you control your life, right?
Absolutely. I think what we all have a tendency to do, just like you were saying, is we're letting the day control us instead of us controlling the day. And because we're doing that, we're going to constantly be stretched thin. We're going to bounce off of walls. We're going to actually be more mentally exhausted than actually doing work because we're going to think about doing so much work and get very little done.
That's right. So my big why personally is my daughter. So I'm up at 4 o'clock every morning, and I'm getting up. I bounce out of bed. I'm a highly motivated person, just naturally. That's just who I am. But I know a lot of people are not built that way, right? So you got to think. So when I get up, one of the first things I do is I look at my schedule. And I wasn't always built like that. And that's just something that I've learned over time, right? So when I look at my schedule, I'm doing just a quick glance of what are my appointments for the day, what meetings I got to go to, what do I have time blocked out in my day. So I never time blocked probably until about 2018. And what I've learned about time blocking is it is a way for you to basically take control of your life. Because if you don't prioritize what's going on, then you're going to get distracted. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. And just to kind of touch on that, so for the people that are listening, there will be several that are my actual coaching clients. I'm a life coach and a business coach as well. And we take basically time blocking and we mix it in with chunking and make like a beautiful hybrid. So when we're setting the time, we're setting the essence. For example, for a realtor, what we like to do is we set up as much productivity in each time block as possible. And we use a desktop timer too, Will. And I don't know if you've ever tried this. And if not, this is something we can even dive into in another pod. But with the time blocking or chunking or the hybrid that I do, is we use a desktop timer that starts from the time of the time block to the end of the time block. And it's a big visible timer that you sit right by your keyboard, and you do not use your cell phone at all. You don't use any other electronic devices. You put them in do not disturb. So that way, whatever your time block is, you're completely immersed into that. And when that timer goes off, the minute it goes off, you have to stop whatever it is you're doing. Of course, if you're on the phone, wrap it up, but you have to stop.
So that takes a lot of self-control, right? To immediately just mentally and physically tell yourself you're not going to touch this again, right? That is something that is a power in yourself that you have to do, because the struggle with time blocking, and I still struggle with this, is protecting your time, right? And basically saying, I'm going to do this and focus on this task for this amount of time, and when it's done, it's done. A lot of people have a hard time stopping, right? Or
Yes.
not, no pun intended, chasing those squirrels, right? So somebody walks in and hey, squirrel, right? You go, next thing you know, you off doing that, and you're telling yourself you worked for an hour, but literally you have not. You've done everything but done the one thing that you should have accomplished. So explain chunking to people who don't know what chunking actually means.
Okay, so chunking is taking similar items and grouping them together. For example, in real estate, you could put like money producing activities in one chunk, like SOI, the like FISBOs, listing, like trying to get new listings, all that stuff. You could put it all in together. So similar items is what chunking is, because what you're going to do is you're going to do a little bit of everything in that very, very small time chunk together that actually operate off of one another. Where typically you may say, all right, well, from 1 to 2 p.m., I'm doing SOI phone calls. Again, we're still stuck on real estate, but you're doing 1 to 2, so you got an hour there. And then you may do, oh, now it's time for my center of influence, and then so on and so forth. However, if you condense them all around in the same time block, you'll actually get more done. You'll be more ready to go. And there's a whole mindset behind this and a whole process, because a lot of times what we do is we end up getting all of these things we want to do, and then we're like, oh, the pantry looks really messed up right now, so I'm going to go do the pantry. And then you think about all the work while you're cleaning the pantry and actually get nothing done.
Right. So when I hear you say chunking, in my mind, I'm thinking prepping or planning, right? Is that what you would equate it to?
You can, so like there's a whole process when you're developing a schedule. In the beginning of your schedule week, let's say you start on a Sunday, you want to kind of pre-plan out for the week, or at least 3 days in advance, minimum of 3. So when you're planning that out, you want to develop whatever. And if you're putting on, say, production for this week, specifically real estate, you're doing production, you have to look at what you all do in production, right? Like what funnels do you have? Do you have SOI? Do you have listings you're going after, buyers? Do you have for sale by owners? Whatever have you. You got to create these funnels. And when they're similar, say for that time block, Will, say, like 1 to 2 p.m. specifically, you're going to put all of that together inside, and you're going to plan, like you were talking about, on how you're going to approach this. So you may say, all right, during that hour, I'm going to take 5 FISBO, 5 potential listings, 5 center of influence, and you're going to do all of that in that hour.
Right. So we are real estate guys, so we do talk a lot of real estate lingo. But you can apply this to pretty much any type of life structure, right? Any type of industry, your own personal industry. If you're a stay-at-home dad or mom, you can apply this to your life there as well, correct?
Yes. Yeah, you could pretty much do whatever. So several of my clients, they always feel that burden of, grocery shopping, if you don't use like Instacart or something. And not only that, laundry. Let's be real, laundry never freaking ends, ever. So you have laundry constantly haunting you. Then you want to clean up the house. And if you're like me, I work from home. Even when I was in production of real estate, I work from home. Now with the whole coaching business, I definitely work from home. So trying to fit these other things in can be like that cloud overhanging you and causing stress. So if you put that in your schedule and you chunk it, like say, hey, I'm going to clean the downstairs bathroom, the office, and the living room, and you do that and you use the desktop timer, you do it within an hour, watch how much you get done. Because I had someone, and I kid you not, they said it takes about 4 hours to clean their house. And I challenged them. I said, use a timer, set it for an hour, and all you're doing is cleaning during that hour. They finished the whole house in 45 minutes.
Wow.
Because we as people, we have a tendency to take the least path of resistance, right? Like it's it's healthier to stand, but it's easier to sit.
Right.
So same thing with cleaning. If we're stretching ourselves thin, it's novelty in a sense at that point, and we're just kind of running around like, oh man, I need to do all this, but that pantry looks fantastic. I always go back to the pantry because that's what I used to do specifically. I'm like, man, that fucking pantry needs fixed. I'm gonna jump all over it. Like this is gonna be the best damn pantry. And then 30 minutes later, my kids ruin it all.
So you just dropped the first F-bomb, so I'm glad it wasn't me, but good job.
I was gunning for it. I really, I was just trying to pace it out, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm going for it.
So you just mentioned something. So you work from home. So
Yep.
post COVID, the work world is just totally different, right?
Yeah.
We all have been telling ourselves we work better from home. Everybody want to work from home, or everybody does a lot of work from home now.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about like why you feel like, especially in this real estate world, that things are that different. Like I had an office, agents actually stopped coming to the offers. They started telling me, hey, my mindset is shifted. I mean, we figured out that we can work better from home. And then you hear a lot of these top producers when you go to these conferences and conventions saying, actually, that's not so. Like they're more productive when they're in the office and they're around people being productive, and the camaraderie and all of that. Like that is like totally changed. But it plays well into this time blocking thing we're talking about today too, because that is going to help you if you do work at home also, correct?
Oh, 100%. And I definitely agree with you. So depending on the person, the personality, the drive, etc., some people are going to be better in an office and some people are going to be better at home. For example, if you take my wife Tammy and I, Tammy is better in the office, but at home, oh my gosh, you don't get anything done. It just doesn't happen for her. But me, if I go to an office, I find it too distracting that I need my own space. So I've been working from home. Let's say I've been in real estate a little over 10 years, and I would say 7 of those years I've been working from home at a very high success rate. Now, that's not saying everybody could do that, right? You got to have the drive, you got to have the mentality and the willpower to do it, because like we were talking about the time blocking, chunking, hybrid type stuff, you have to have the drive and the willpower to do that, because I first discovered my hybrid version of time blocking way back then. And I've stuck to that, and it helps me finish so many projects, so many different side things, so many important things in very little time. There was a point in my production, I'm still doing over 6 figures in income, and I would work 25 hours or less of work.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because I'm definitely an office guy, right? I can work from home fine, but I do feel more productive when I'm in the office. When I get up, I get showered. I may even actually do a little bit of work at home before I hit the road to come to the office, because I feel like I'm getting a head start there. And then I'm in the office, I'm being productive, and again, I'm probably gonna get pulled a lot and get off my time block a little bit, but the time block is there, and you can correct me if you feel different. But the time block for me is there for me to make sure that I can come back and focus on getting like 3 big things done today. Because when you're running a business, especially, and you still have family and friends and everything else going on, you're gonna get pulled in a lot of different directions. And if you don't have that structural piece to come back to, it's gonna feel like you never get anything accomplished. At least that's what I felt until I actually started buying into time blocking. And you got to buy into this at a high level. It can't be something that you kind of casually do.
Yep.
And you just got to buy into it as a high level. Like when I'm in my office, there's actually a board. And I have 3 things that I write on it that I have to get done today. Like those are the main 3 things that I have to get done today. So I can have a sense of accomplishment when I clock out at the end of the day. Like how do you normally run your day?
With my time blocking, and real quick, before I dive into that, I kind of wanted to point out something you brought up. You said pick 3 big things. That is the best damn thing you could ever do, because most people go in with what I call the shit list. And see, I'm just going to be dropping bombs. So if you guys are sensitive, you might want to fuck off at this point.
Hey, I set it up to be for adults, so
Yeah, okay. just forewarn. I mean, so I call it the shit list, which is your to-do list, right? When people make a to-do list, they don't really have a direction. They're just brain dumping on a piece of paper, and then trying to achieve and accomplish that to-do list in a very small portion of the day. Because if any of you, and again, I'm gonna touch on real estate, if any of you are in as a realtor or a broker owner, you know damn well how stretched thin you are in general in this business. It is a high stressful business. Even if you are on par with your schedule, it's still a very emotional and stressful business. So like Will said earlier, when you pick 3 things, that's how your brain works. It works in 3s. It works up to 5. That's it. So I always tell everybody, and my clients that are listening will vouch for this, pick 3 big things. So if you have say a list of 50 things, pick the top 3 and focus on that. You can always add more once you finish, but you gotta have a sense of direction. So for me, for time blocking, I always take it an extra level. And like Will said, you gotta come in at a very strong position. Let's call it a position. Because if you're thinking, oh, I'm just gonna dabble in this, it won't work, of course, because you're not putting the effort in. However, you will never, ever, and get this out of your damn head, you will never hit 100% of your schedule. You wanna aim for 80% perfect. When you get to 80,
I agree. Because if you're on the basketball court and you shooting 80%, everybody's gonna draft you, right?
damn right, exactly. And in the beginning, if you are literally dedicating, you're putting the time and effort, you're not dabbling, go aim for 10% perfect, and then the next week 15, and then so on and so forth, and work your way up. But here's where a lot of people, and you tell me, Will, if you've done this or not, and you might have, but a lot of people don't, from my experience, is when you are about to prep your schedule, say Sunday night, like that's when I do it. So Sunday night, you're prepping your schedule. What most people do is they're looking ahead, right? They're building out whatever they want to achieve. I never use the word goals. It's always achievements. Whatever they want to achieve for the week. And that's great, and it gives you a sense of direction. However, the most important part to me is to look back at my previous week and ask myself, what worked and why did it work? What didn't work and why didn't it work? Based on that data, now I can add into my schedule and constantly tweak my schedule so that way every week I'm improving.
So I'm a very I listen well. Okay, so you just said something. You said goals versus achievements.
Yes.
So tell everybody a little bit of why you prefer to use the word achievement versus goal, because I'm all about winning, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
everybody's competitive, but I'm even more about the little wins than the big
Yes.
wins, because I think the little wins get you to the big win, and people tend to forget about that. So I meet with my team every week, and when some of them come in, they're like, "Oh, I don't have anything," and I was like, "Okay, what did you learn this week?" And then they'll talk about what they learned. I say, "Okay, that's a win." Like you gotta celebrate those little wins to keep yourself motivated and to keep moving ahead. Now, if you didn't learn anything, then you got to find something else. But you got to be working towards something. So tell everybody why you chose to specifically use that word achievement versus goal.
So I used to be heavily into sports back in the day. Now, mind you, I haven't watched any sports event in 15 plus years. It bores the shit out of me nowadays, right? No offense to all my sports lovers out there. Go whatever team, go, yay. But in sports, just to kind of put that in perspective, is there's a goal line, right? Like specifically in football, there's a goal line. And every time you get to the goal line, you got to restart the play, right? You got to go back and, you're restarting the whole damn thing. So goals have been built into us psychologically since we were very young to end, right? And I don't know about some of you out there, but myself, I don't ever want some things to end. I want to keep building on it. I want to keep growing with it. So the word achievement, that's really what it is. You're achieving something, and you can achieve it for as long as you want, but you're still going to get the satisfaction of not necessarily completion, but of achieving it. So for my coaching class that are listening, they know that's what we aim for. What are your achievements? So for example, you might pick one big achievement this year that you want to accomplish. And then you focus on every quarter, like a set of achievements, like up to 3, like Will was saying. So let's say 3 achievements for the first quarter, 3 achievements for second quarter, so on and so forth. But the way you should do these achievements is they should build off the previous achievements that you achieved. Does that make sense? Like where you're grabbing it, you're achieving it, and then you're stacking, right? Mm-hmm. That way you can keep going. And the thing is, when you get to the zone where you achieved it, if you don't want to take that achievement higher, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're happy. You don't need to keep extending. Now, myself, I will extend beyond the stars and above, and I want to see what's further out there. That's who I am. But there's nothing wrong if that's not you. That's okay. It's okay to be that. And if you find that happy space, why the hell would you want to leave? If everything's working and everything's functional, don't leave it. That's probably the best spot you can be at. Nothing wrong with that.
I love the way that you talk about that word, and you just put it out to the listeners. The society has changed so much where we're sort of in this little conflux of where everybody's a winner, right?
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
If you grew up when I grew up, that was not the case. Like,
nope.
You go out, you lose, you learn how to lose, you learn how to lose well, right? And from that you grow. So even if you lose, you grow, right? And I'm a very growth-minded person, so I get to know my agents very personally. So they come to me and they talk to me, and we talk about how can we be better, no matter what the situation is. If we lose a deal, we talk about how we lost that deal and how do we grow from that deal, right? If there's a personal situation in my life, I reflect on that situation, and I feel like I said this to somebody actually not even a few hours ago, but introspective is something hard for us to do, right? It's hard to look in yourself and say, hey, how do I grow from this moment, right? And when you go through life and you implement something at a high level, like this time blocking we're talking about, it allows you to take the time to say, okay, what went wrong this week? How can I change it so I can be better at achieving my goals moving forward, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that's the blessing I've gotten from implementing this at a high form.
Yeah, and I think that's a very valid point. It's really, what are you going to implement? Like you mentioned earlier on, you find your why essentially, right? And then there's 1,001 books out there talking about that, and they're all great, and they're meant to really trigger the thought process of figuring out why. And earlier, Will said his daughter, right? And when I was in real estate, when I first got into it, my why was to make money so I could pay my bills and eat more than ramen noodles.
You said the M word.
What?
Money.
Oh, money, yeah. And so it's kind of funny because the reason I mentioned that, Will, is that was why I got in this business, right? Mm-hmm. I was always good with people, good with talking with people. And I did fantastic my first year, second year, third year of real estate very quickly. However, what happened, because my why was money, my business bombed out. That's not a strong enough why. It'll get you by, but you have to be able to go from that, survival mode, which is what that is, to a thriving mode. And what I started noticing is that I lost my way of looking at people as people. They become dollar signs, right? Like
Right.
you start saying, "Oh man, I'm gonna get this commission, that commission, boom, boom, boom." Well, that can all disappear in seconds. And what do you got? And it's just like one thing that really pisses me off in real estate is that the older, outdated, archaic mentality of transactions. This, oh, it's a transactional. You're on to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one. But you're not cultivating in relationships, right? So one thing I learned the hard way is that you gotta be a person, and you have to. My why eventually changed to helping people, became service minded. I would always call myself the real estate resource.
It's kind of funny because whenever you ask people why did they get into real estate, the number one answer is going to be because I want to help people, right? And then you see them after they've made all this money and they're not quite the same person, right? Because money does change you, let's be honest. So I can respect you coming into the business and me asking you why did you get into the business and you saying money, right? You need money, whatever. I mean, you want to make more money.
Yep.
Then someone saying to me they want to help people, but what I've realized is if you're broke, you can't help a lot of people, right?
No. Nope. Not
And
not the
so-
way the system's designed.
That's right. So you gotta make money. So if you really want to help people, it is your obligation, your job to go out and help them and make money in the process. Now, I'm a relationship-based sales person. I've had 30 plus years of sales experience, and I've been successful in sales just based upon building relationships alone. I don't focus on money. I don't think about money. I know the importance of money, but I make money from helping people.
Yes.
And that's a shift mentally. Like that to me, that's in you or it's not. Like you're a nice guy or you're not, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's natural for me to go and introduce myself to people and talk to them and get to know them and build this camaraderie with them because now you trust me, right? And if you trust me, then I can genuinely help you without fear. Like I can be as honest with you and as blunt with you as possible, give you all the information so you can make the best decision for you and your family, and we both can grow from that. So it shouldn't be, I feel like there's this stigmatism about making money, especially in this business, because we know everybody's watching those shows, right? Everybody's watching HGTV and all that. They see the toys, they see all the money that these realtors are making, and they lump us all in that pile. But we're not all the same, right?
Correct.
We're different people.
Correct. And, you know, whenever a lot of times when people are in this business, especially in the beginning, a lot of people are broke. I was one of them, you know, like I scraped together just to get off the ground and get the ball running. And I would work, 70 plus hours a week. Now, in hindsight, I can critique and analyze the hell out of that and really point out that maybe I put in 14 hours of work, even though I thought I was working much more, of course. But when your back's against a wall and all you see is bills piling up, late fees, credit cards, car repossessions, etc. I've had a car repossessed back then. I've had a couple. I made mistakes of not paying attention to my real why, which was helping people, like Will said. And whenever I'm looking at this, a lot of people that get in the business, it's the money draw. They can say all they want that I'm in it to help people. I'm a people person, etc. That's not even a skill set, by the way, people. People person is not a skill set. Stop saying that. It's weird.
That's on my resume, by the way. That's on my resume.
Oh, I have no doubt. You're a nice guy, though. I'm just giving it brutally honest to people. So the reason people start shifting to money is because real estate and your bills don't give two shits if you're closing anything or not. The bills will still keep coming. So it's very easy to shift in that. But that point, when you start looking at your dinner for ramen noodles the third night in a row, and I've been there and I'm speaking from experience, instead of thinking of money and how much money you need to get out of the hole, you need to switch to that thinking, like Will said, of how can I help people? Because when you help people, it takes care of itself.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
And we're going to talk about your resume, Will. I got to see that.
At 50 years old, I don't think I want any more jobs. I'm good.
I mean, if you do Wow Will on like OnlyFans dipping your toes in mayonnaise, I think I would even pay for that.
And nobody wants to see this hairbody on OnlyFans. We good.
So, Will, we've been talking for a bit now about, several different things where people can get their mindsets and kind of, get into that groove of more positive, more self-motivated. What would you say for you yourself? And you have way more real estate experience than I have. I personally still whip your ass in sales. But anyway, just joking. What would you say the top 3 things for self-motivation to stay in this business?
The top 3 things for me probably would be, again, having a strong big why. Like you said, it may be money to start with, but money is not actually why you're gonna stay in this business, right? So,
Yep.
what is the big why? What is gonna drive you every day? And what is gonna make you get out that bed early in the morning before other agents and do the things that other agents aren't doing, or whatever industry you're in? Because I know we got other listeners that are not in the real estate industry. What is gonna drive you? So having a strong big why. Second thing is, and I tell my agents this all the time, is fun. Like, do you actually enjoy your job? Like, do you like working with people? Because I hear that all the time. I love helping people. Okay, well, people want you to help them. Just go out, be yourself, and do the job, be professional, but also have fun with them. They don't want to go through a whole transaction with you and sit down with you at a closing, and it's like, you know, just not a fun sort of thing. Like, if I get to a closing and people are not inviting me to their Christmas parties and the birthdays and all of that, I feel like I did something wrong. So make sure that they have fun. And the third thing is just, trust yourself. Don't be afraid, and just be who you are. People are going to be attracted to you because of you. And in this business, I tell my agents all the time, you can hire and fire people. So you're going to attract people that's going to work with you. Some people are not going to want to work with you. It's okay. There's 8 billion people in the world. Go out and find the 1 million that want to work with you, and you'll be okay.
I love it. Why, fun, and trust yourself. Those are bangers, man. Like, not even like making a joke. Those are fantastic. I think those are concrete things people need to hold on to.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, and my 3 things, and I'll make it really quick. Pay attention to your wins, and I'm not talking about, your professional wins. Talk about your personal wins. And I have my clients; they do a wins journal, and I do this myself too. So, pay attention to your wins. Like, if you have a personal win where you don't even want to get out of bed, but you do, that's a fucking win. Write it down, right? And then I would say the second one to help stay motivated is pay attention to what you're doing, right? It's along the what Will's why is, but I call it purpose, right?
I like that.
Yeah, purpose. That just hold on to that word. And then I say the third thing is ask yourself and be very, very brutally honest, and this goes back to Will's why, is why are you here? I know that sounds like purpose, but it's not. It's 2 different things. And those are my 3 things without diving into that, because that's a whole nother pod.
Yeah, so we've actually gone 30 plus minutes, and this is our first episode. Hopefully, everybody got something out of this and enjoyed themselves. And honestly, I had fun doing it, and I'm looking forward to doing it again.
Yeah, me too. And hit us up on social media. You can literally find me on Facebook and Instagram. I really don't do anything else, but it's at the Liam Pierce. It's very, very simple. Hit me up anytime, especially if you guys have comments. And Will, what are your handles out there?
I am. It's my name, Wilbur Lane, on Facebook. So at Wilbur Lane on Facebook.
Perfect.
And Instagram is the company page at Next Home Realty Consultants.
Perfect. And once we get everything up and running, we'll create everything for the two squirrels as things pick up, and then it'll be easier to follow along with our antics. Because this one was kind of, we really wanted to hit home and really help people, and then we're gonna have fun while we're doing this. So thank you guys again for listening. I definitely appreciate it, and I know Will does too.
I do. All right, everybody. Have a great one.